The worst moments in life never announce themselves. They arrive quietly, disguised as an ordinary evening, until one sentence changes everything forever. I thought I was only making a harmless joke after one of the hardest days of my life. I smiled, looked at my sister's best friend, and casually asked, "Can I stay tonight?" I expected laughter. Instead, she blushed, looked down for a long moment, and gave an answer that completely changed the direction of my life in ways I never could have imagined. Before we continue, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of unexpected love, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone you care about, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us continue sharing emotional stories that touch hearts around the world. My name is Nathan, and this happened in a quiet neighborhood outside Nashville, Tennessee. At 29, I believed I had everything under control. I had a steady engineering job, a comfortable apartment, and plans that stretched years into the future. But life has a strange way of reminding us that certainty is often an illusion. Within a single month, the company where I worked announced massive layoffs. My name was on the list. Losing my paycheck was painful, but it wasn't the deepest wound. My girlfriend of 4 years decided that unemployment made our future too uncertain, and she packed her belongings before I had even figured out how to pay next month's rent. A week later, my landlord informed me that the building had been sold, and every tenant had 60 days to move. I tried to stay optimistic. I told everyone I was fine. I smiled through conversations and assured my younger sister Grace that everything would work out. The truth was very different. Every morning felt heavier than the last. Every rejection email from another job application chipped away at my confidence. I had never felt so alone. Grace noticed what I tried so hard to hide. She invited me over for dinner every Sunday, insisting that homemade food could solve almost anything. Her best friend Rachel was almost always there helping in the kitchen. I had known Rachel for years, but only as the cheerful woman who laughed at Grace's terrible jokes and always remembered everyone's birthday. She worked as a pediatric nurse and somehow managed to make every room feel calmer simply by walking into it. That particular evening had been especially difficult. I had just received another rejection from a company where I had made it to the final interview. I walked into Grace's house carrying disappointment that felt too heavy for one person. Dinner was warm, comforting, and filled with laughter that I couldn't quite join. Rachel noticed my silence but never pressured me to explain it. She simply made sure my plate was never empty and quietly asked if I wanted more coffee after dessert. When it was time to leave, rain began pouring outside. Thunder rolled across the Tennessee sky, and I stood near the front door watching sheets of water cover the street. Trying to lighten the mood, I laughed and looked toward Rachel. I joked that maybe I should just stay there for the night. The smile on her face slowly disappeared. Instead of laughing, she looked at me with gentle eyes that seemed to understand far more than I had ever admitted aloud. A soft blush appeared across her cheeks before she quietly told me that I could stay, not just because of the storm, but because she didn't think I should be alone anymore. For a few seconds, the room became completely silent. No one had ever looked at me with that much compassion before. There was no pity in her expression. There was only genuine concern. That night, I slept in the guest room. I expected awkwardness the next morning, but instead, Rachel made pancakes while Grace teased both of us about burning the bacon. Somehow, the heaviness inside me felt a little lighter. Days turned into weeks. Rachel began checking in with me every afternoon. Sometimes she sent job postings. Sometimes she simply reminded me to eat lunch or go for a walk. She never tried to fix my problems. She simply refused to let me face them by myself. Slowly, I started rebuilding my confidence. I accepted freelance engineering work while continuing my job search. Rachel celebrated every small victory as though it were her own. When I landed an interview, she helped me practice answers. When another rejection came, she reminded me that my worth had never depended on one employer's decision. One evening, while helping Grace repaint her living room, I realized I had been smiling for hours without pretending. That frightened me, because I knew exactly why. I had fallen in love with the woman who had quietly stepped into the darkest chapter of my life without expecting anything in return. Months passed before I gathered enough courage to tell her. I invited Rachel to a small lakeside park just outside the city where autumn leaves reflected across the calm water. My hands trembled more than they had during any job interview. I confessed that what began as gratitude had become something much deeper. I admitted that I couldn't imagine my future without her in it. Rachel smiled through tears before admitting she had started caring about me long before that rainy night. She had watched me spend years putting everyone else's happiness before my own, and she had quietly hoped that someday someone would do the same for me. That someone, she said, had become her. Not long afterward, I finally accepted a position with an engineering firm that valued both my skills and my experience. The new job brought stability back into my life, but the greatest blessing wasn't the paycheck. It was coming home to someone who believed in me even when I couldn't believe in myself. A year later, surrounded by family and close friends in a small church outside Nashville, Rachel became my wife. As we exchanged vows, Grace couldn't stop crying. She later admitted she had secretly hoped we would find our way to each other all along. Looking back now, I often think about that simple joke I made near the front door. I believed I was only asking for a place to sleep. Instead, I was unknowingly asking life for another chance. And life answered through the kindness of a woman whose heart was bigger than either of us realized. Sometimes, the greatest miracles don't arrive with grand speeches or dramatic moments. Sometimes they begin with quiet compassion, patient encouragement, and one unexpected answer that changes everything. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope today, subscribe to the channel, and let us know your thoughts in the comments. Your support helps these meaningful stories reach people who may need them the most. Special request: comment below with the words, "Kindness changes lives," if you believe one act of compassion can completely change someone's future. Life rarely follows the plans we carefully make. Doors close, dreams fall apart, and the future can seem frighteningly uncertain. But sometimes, when everything appears to be lost, God places the right people in our path at exactly the right moment. One kind heart, one open door, and one unexpected answer can transform pain into hope, loneliness into love, and an ordinary joke into the beginning of a beautiful forever.